Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. This is Borian from Pattern Journal, and we are back today with another special kind of video, similar to my last one, but different in some ways as well. And today I'm going to be talking about the new announced expansion for World of Warcraft, The War Within. Now, as you can see from the images I have up on the screen here, what they announced at Blizzcon this past weekend, this weekend just gone by, was that they announced three expansions at the same time. They announced the Worldsoul Saga, which is gonna take us across three expansions. The first of which, coming next year, is the War Within, followed by Midnight, and then the Last Titan. Now, there's a whole lot I want to talk about. Uh, there's absolutely so much because if you caught my WOD, or if you were watching me when I was streaming it during the opening ceremony of BlizzCon, the WOD for which is up on my YouTube channel now, by the way, if you want to check it out. Watching Chris Metzen come on the floor and just like get the crowd going, pumping everybody up, and just making all the announcements. It was like, if I had to summarize it in one word, I would say that it was therapeutic. Because, okay, so, let's rewind a little bit. I used to play Warcraft a lot during the end of Burning Crusade and lasting most of Wrath of Lich King. I dropped off just before the final patch came out with Ruby Sanctum, and I was playing on and off for years, with the occasional free week that I got um, with my deactivated sub. And then I came back to the game at the end of 2019 when they announced the Shadowlands expansion. And at the time, they were in the middle of Battle for Azeroth. 8.3 had come out, I believe. 8.3 is what it was. And, we were in the middle, and they announced the next patch and everything. They announced expansion. The cinematic was amazing. Sylvanas fighting against Bolvar, and I was like, yes, this is great stuff. And then Shadowlands launched, and then it was like, my hype was like all the way here, and by the end of the expansion, I was like down here. Then they announced like Dragonflight, and I was like, okay. But then again, now I'm like about here. I'm not as low as I was in Shadowlands, but I am like not as hyped as I was. And there's so many factors to that, whether it's the gameplay, it's the story, or so many other things. But Chris Metzen on screen was just absolutely something special. And I absolutely love what he did, having him back on screen and, just telling everybody, guys, it was like, yes, I want this. And, it was like fantastic, amazing. Apologies for a second there for the video. But, anyways, yeah. So, I had an amazing time watching the live announcements, and it's like, it spoke to me, right? Like, there was so much mushy stuff in there as a viewer, and watching Chris Metzen, the guy who left Blizzard a few years back, he started his own studio. I think it's called Warchief Games or Warchief Studio or something like that. But now he's back as the senior creative lead for World of Warcraft or Warcraft, and this is his first announcement in that role. That not just one expansion but three expansions. It's a connected story, and not only are like some big name characters coming back as as like faces of the expansion, like fan favorite characters, right? But also, it's like we are finally doing something that has been again so integral to Warcraft IP since very early days. It was like what Legion did for me as a fan of Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3 and even the original Warcraft. Um, I feel that kind of stuff with the War Within, and because it's like it's not only carrying that old legacy, but it's also going to be carrying this new legacy from the recent years, and it's going to address some of the biggest story points that we haven't touched on in a while. And as it happens, a lot of it comes from Battle for Azeroth, which, maligned as the expansion is for a number of reasons, it did give us some really cool stuff. So, anyways, enough of me waffling here. Let's just watch this announced trailer. Just again, I've seen it a few times. It gets me every time now. So, but anyways, with you guys, I just want to watch it again. And after it's done, I want to talk about what is in this trailer and what it means, and plus some of the story stuff that we already know. This video is only going to be like an initial video that I'm going to be making on the topic of the War Within. There's so much more content that they've announced, like the new features, some of the new story beats, some of the larger stuff, the features and everything. And I'm going to go a little bit more in depth on that in some future videos. But anyways, the trailer, the announced cinematic, right? Let's go.
Anduin.
You're here to tell me we don't get to hide. Is that it?
You needed time. We stayed away. But time by itself heals nothing.
You didn't just come here for me. It's the visions. You've seen them.
I suspect many have lately. Something, someone, is calling out from the heart of the world. Like a voice from a dream. Something dark is coming, Anduin. The world needs your light again. My son.
I am not that person anymore! I have no light. Not after what I've seen. Not after what I've done.
You are not your past, Anduin. I trust you.
Hear me.
They're getting worse. Look. Whatever's coming, I'll stand with you. Of course I will. But we were drawn here by the voice. Who is it, Thrall? Who's calling out to us?
I'm not sure yet. But that sword was aimed at someone.
So that's the trailer, right? And I have to say, it's like it was something special because, first of all, seeing Anduin, so different from the last time that we saw him, which was at the end of the Shadowlands expansion when he was like, I've committed too many sins. I've been forced to commit too many sins, and I feel like I'm lost in darkness and I can't go on. I cannot go back to my people. I cannot face them. I failed everybody. I failed myself. I failed the light. And it's like, it was just like, I am not coming back. And sure, it's only been 2 years since we've missed Anduin, or, chronologically, real life, 2.5 years since that's when the storyline for Shadowlands ended at the end of patch 9.3 when we finally got the ending campaign. And it's like you can see that he's been struggling. He's not been taking care of himself. And he's been sitting in that desert for God knows how long, just mulling. He's like twisting the sword in the sand, and it's like the action is kind of like it's deep in thought. He doesn't know what he wants to do, who he should talk to. He's cut himself off from everybody, and it's like during like I believe during Dragonflight at some point we got a little bit of story here and there, occasionally, some like snippets of dialogue, and it's like Matthias Shaw, the head of SI7 and Stormwind, he's been looking for Anduin, but he can't find him. He knows that he's on Azeroth. He's somewhere, but can't find him. It's like it's that concern for the character, right? Because we as players, we've seen Anduin grow up from like I don't know, like an 8 or 9 year old to like he's probably like I don't know, he's like 25 something now. We've seen him grow up. We've seen him suffer so much, and it's like whatever he went through in Shadowlands, now it's left such a dark mark on his soul, and he's still struggling with that even all these years later, because it's not just the in-game chronology. It's not just the time that we've spent in the Dragon Isles over the course of the expansion, which hasn't ended yet, even because the new patch launched this week, and there's story going on there, and it's going to continue until we get the pre-patch next year. But it's like between Shadowlands and Dragon Isles, also there was like either it was a 2 year gap or like a 4 or 5 year gap, something like that. So Anduin's been gone for a long time, and it's like he's a character who is at his lowest. He's cut himself off from his friends, his family, and he has no one to talk to. And then it's like, just as you as players, you see Chris Metzen come on the stage and make all these big announcements. It's like, yes, Chris Metzen is back. It's like a portal opens up, Thrall steps through, and you're just like, Yes, it's like you just know something big is gonna happen because there's two things about this. One, Thrall has been such a central character for the IP for longer than even Anduin because we've known Thrall since Warcraft 3. He reformed the Horde at the end of the Third War, and he carried on that legacy of the past war chiefs, the good and the bad. He tried to make amends with the world, and he led his people to a better future. He led his allies to a better future, and for all his own faults, Thrall has committed so many mistakes. Um, but he's still a character you can get behind because you know that he comes from a particular place of belief, a particular place of morals, and it's like, yes, we've seen him go on, go off, and then come back again and again. We saw it in like Battle for Azeroth. We saw it in World's Draenor. Even during Shadowlands. It was like coming and going sort of thing. But it's like now Chris Metzen is back, and Chris Metzen has always been the voice actor for Thrall. So it's like there's a double-edged sword thing going here, right? Or not double-edged, but it's like you get like two blades or whatever. So Chris Metzen is back as Chris Metzen, the creative and narrative lead for the IP, and then also with him back, we know that Thrall is going to do something big, and Thrall's first action under the creative direction of Chris Metzen is to go find Anduin, convince him he needs to come back to his friends, to his family, to his people, most of all, and lead again in whatever capacity. And you see the struggle that Anduin is going through when Thrall puts a hand on his shoulder, and you get that bit of a flashback, and it's like that's I believe that's an updated cinematic snapshot from when we defeat Anduin in patch 9.3 in the whatever the no, not World of the Incarnates, whatever the raid was. He was the mid boss. He was like the eighth boss of the raid or something. And it's a cinematic where he's being completely taken over by the jailer. The jailer gives him a new Morn blade, which contains the soul of Arthas, no less. He forcibly mentally dominates Anduin to do stuff for him, and Anduin kills people while under the jailer's control. And it's like, Anduin goes through so much, and then when we're fighting him at the end of the fight, he comes back because when the jailer's like, destroy everybody, unleash your power, and it's like Anduin is in the sword, and it's like he's talked to by the ghosts of two people, and one of them is his father, Varian. The other is Saurfang. Saurfang would be the last person to hold Charlemagne before the events of Shadowlands, and Varian, of course, being Anduin's father and the former king of Stormwind and the High King of the Alliance, he was the first bearer of Charlemagne. And so it's like, it's his father and Saurfang convince him, Anduin, they're still good in you. You need to come back. And it's like boom, everything happens, and so anyways, sorry. So it carries on from there, right? That's a lot of what they're referencing. They're referencing the end of Shadowlands, and they're referencing the end of Legion, and then it's like the start of Battle of Azeroth is also mixed in, and so it's like one thing that I was a little bit confused on is that both of them should know who the voice belongs to, because in Battle for Azeroth we know through Magni Bronzebeard, former king of Ironforge, and now the speaker of Azeroth. Magni is the voice of the planet itself, because Azeroth it's not just the planet that all these people live on. Within Azeroth is the Worldsoul Azeroth. She is a Titan herself, and she's nascent, and she's still developing. And Sargeras was trying to destroy her or corrupt her or something, because he believes that nascent world souls should be destroyed lest they all fall to the void, and give some new powers and new armies to the void. So there's so much lore that's packed in that 4 minutes of dialogue, and it's amazing because of how much they reference, what all the stuff they imply, and it's like, yes, the memes have been fulfilled. What sword? Hashtag what sword? We're finally talking about hashtag that sword, Sargeras' sword, that's stuck in Silithus, and that was the cause of so many problems in Battle for Azeroth and the end of Legion. It's like that's being fulfilled, and there's so many theories about what's going to happen, but I guess they could be confused because it seems none of them have talked to Magni yet, and Magni would know a whole lot about what's going on, but these people have to go and talk to him because he's probably in the Chamber of the Heart in the middle of Silithus itself, where the sword is. So, but then again, it could also be that maybe it's Xal'atath, because lore freak out here. During the events of Battle of Azeroth, we acquired this one blade, and we freed someone who was locked into that blade. That person being Xal'atath, and she was a void entity serving the Void Lords, but somehow she had been defeated by the old gods that we know who have dominated Azeroth before. So that would be Yogg-Saron, Isharge, Khatun, and N'Zoth. And at the end of the expansion, Rathian uses that sword, the empty knife. He uses that to kill N'Zoth, if I remember correctly. So there's so much going on here. And we know from the announcement that Chris Metzen made that yes, Xal'atath is going to be a huge feature of the story. And I'll be talking more about that in a later video. But Xal'atath is up to some really bad stuff, and she's manipulating all these people. It's all up in the air, right? We come back to the cinematic, and what does the cinematic do? It features two of the most important characters from the last 10 years of WoW. You could probably say it's even more, depending on how you look at it. Warcraft's coming up on 20 years. Let's not kid ourselves. I believe next year is the 20th anniversary. So for 20th anniversary, we're getting such a huge deal, and it's just firing off all these neurons in the brain, and it's okay, this is gonna happen, this, and it's complete madness. There's no end to all the theories and conspiracy theories people are coming up with, what the direction of the story is going to be. The Nerubians are coming back. We're going to venture deep into Azeroth again, but unlike what Dragonfly did with the Lom Nifin and all, with Aberys and all that stuff, it's going to be something much bigger. We're going to meet some old friends, some new friends, new villains, old villains. And it's going to be everything that I've seen. It's just been absolutely magnificent. I cannot wait for this expansion. And it's just it just hammers home again and again that, what a difference it makes to have someone as iconic to the franchise as Chris Metzen being back in charge of the direction that it's going in. Because, the last 4 years, 5 years, 4 or 5 years that we've had ever since he departed, and then he was replaced by his successor, who shall go unnamed, and then he left the company under some negative circumstances. He was replaced by Steve Denuser, and under Steve Denuser's direction, the Warcraft story hasn't progressed as a lot of people have expected it to, or people wanted to. There have been so many weird retellings of stories, and it's been why are they redoing this again? Like we've already done this, and this direction doesn't jive with any characterization of these NPCs that we've seen before. And it's like, what is this? This contradicts that, and all that stuff. So it's like this Warcraft story has not been in a very healthy place in recent years. Things were looking up with Dragonflight quite a bit after what Shadowlands did, with all the disconnects it had, but it's like Dragonflight had a great start. I would say it had an amazing start, even better than I was expecting it to. But then it's like the speed just petered out. It's like just went like that. It's like there's a lot of potential was just wasted here. But now I'm like, and even myself, I've been off the wagon for World of Warcraft for like more than 2 months now. I barely log into the game unless it's for my professional cooldowns, and even then, I've been skipping days where I shouldn't, and it's like I've lost a lot of my interest for the game in recent months, but it's like now I'm excited for the future. I'm even more excited for the game than I was in 2019 when I came back for Shadowlands, and I had that amazing time in 8.4 with the Zod patch and all the characters I made, all the living I did, all the stuff I did in the game, the amazing experience that I had, because I was coming in at a point where most of the catch up was already in place, so I didn't see a lot of the bad stuff that people who had started the expansion at launch did. But anyway, so I'm so much more excited. Like 10.2, the recent patch, I'm not too excited for it because I've been very disheartened by the recent story changes that have been done and the direction that it seemed to be going in. But there is a lot of stuff that I really need to catch up on now, because the announcement with the War Within it's motivating me to get shit done. And I'm like, I want to be in the best place possible for the next expansion, whether it's like having all my characters in order or getting my achievements in order and everything, everything with the game, because by all accounts this is going to be the last patch. Unfortunately, we're not going to have another major patch after this. So anyways, yeah. Oh, and one important detail I found out today, I'm not sure how correct this is, but at the end when you hold on, I'll reduce the volume as well.
But that sword.
At this point, the theme that you're hearing, apparently it's a mix of the themes for the Jailer and Sargeras. So it's like they're referencing a lot of stuff here, and it's like, a really nice touch, guys. I really like what you're doing. And it's like, again, right? The cinematic design team, led by Taryn Gregory, absolutely amazing dude. Always love when he gives an interview or he gives some kind of a talk or anything. And his team is just like mind-blowing, right? Every single cinematic, every single time, it just absolutely hits the mark. And it's like every cinematic I said, this is the best cinematic they've put out today. And this one is an exception. Unlike many of the others, this one, it's like, it's so contained, right? It's just these two characters talking and having a bit of flashback. Just Thrall, just Anduin, talking things, having these references to other stuff that's gone on, recent expansions, and then it's like, suddenly it's like, the screen opens up, and it's like the cinematic thing bubbling up, right? Orchestral stuff is coming on, and suddenly it's like, whoa, this is the huge scope of what we're gonna do. And it's like, we already know a lot of what they want to do, right? So the War Within is us going into the subterranean worlds of Azeroth. We're gonna discover the earthen dwarves, some more societies. We're gonna reconnect with the Nerubians, a splinter human society down there. More stuff is gonna happen. Xal'atath is involved in the Nerubians. Something is probably gonna happen there because she has given the Nerubians some kind of accelerated evolution thing, where now a lot of the Nerubians appear humanoid as well. They're not just like, the very spider forms that we've seen from before. And then it's like in Midnight, this was announced. Midnight, it's gonna start off with a huge revamp of Quel'Thalas, the High Elven Kingdom that right now is run by the Blood Elves, the former High Elves, those who followed Kael'thas, and they're probably gonna do a revamp of not just the main zone of Quel'Thalas itself with the capital, but also the surrounding zones. So probably like the Ghostlands and Isle of Kel'Danas and other stuff near it. And there's gonna be like the future of the Elven races is gonna be decided. So he said something to that effect, and which makes me really hopeful that we might be getting druids and shamans for all the Elven races, which would be like, yes, just amazing. I want to make a Void Elf druid so bad, not kidding, and like a Blood Elf shaman, you know, so much to look forward to. And of course, the last Titan, it's the Worldsoul Saga. Azeroth is the World Soul that's been so important for all these years in World of Warcraft. And the Titans are going to come back finally, which probably means Illidan is coming back, Sargeras is coming back, maybe, I guess. And it's like, they'll probably, like, you know, something more, they're going to weave in some Dragonflight stuff, because there's been so much going on with the Titans in Dragonflight, with the Watcher tier, the Keeper tier, especially. And it's like, I am so freaking excited. And it's like, I can't stop thinking of what's going to happen and what we're going to do, all the new characters that we might see, the old returning characters we might see, and where all the stories are going to go. And it's just like, you know, this was the perfect moment to announce something like this. You know, whether hopefully you're not much of a stranger to what has happened with Blizzard, with Warcraft in recent years. And, you know, right now it's kind of like a bit of a low time for the game, more so than usual. And we got this huge announcement, all of it, about the Worldsoul Saga, and with Chris Metzen on the floor. This was, as I said earlier, it was therapeutic. It was hopeful, and it was like so promising. And it's like, yes, things are gonna change. It's like people say this, players say this with every expansion announcement, but it's like it feels so much more genuine now because we know there's been a change in management, right? And it's like, I don't know, man. It's like I am just excited for the game, for where it's gonna go, and I cannot wait. I hope that people who have lapsed in recent weeks, in months, in the recent years, that they come back as well. They hear the call of Chris Metzen calling you all home, and he's promising you a grand old time. It's like, you know, if it can be like, I don't know, I don't know how to describe it. I'm struggling with words here, but it's gonna be special. I can feel it. I'm expecting it. I'm hopeful about it, and I just want to see the culmination of what has been happening at the studio for the last few months, and all the stuff that they've been working on. And you know, we already have a feature deep dive and stuff that's come out. Some more details. I'll cover those in another video and stuff, and we'll go over some of the artwork and all the concepts and stuff that they've shown off for all the zones. There's so much info that's out there right now, and I think it's even more than was announced for Shadowlands, maybe in Dragonflight. And they announced all that. There's so much happening, man, and it's like we're starting to get that old feel back, the story, the systems, and everything. And it's like yes, you know, this is our time, and we just gotta make it happen. So let's do it, and you know, be sure to check out my other videos. I'll be doing a lot of workout stuff in the lead up to the expansion release. I'll probably streaming at some point next week about stuff that's going on in the game right now, and you know, so much more to cover. So anyways, guys, that's all enough waffling for me. Be sure to check out my socials for info, news, everything. Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube, of course, and check out the stream as well at the Paladin Journal on Twitch, and it's all thumbs up from here, guys. So watch the trailer, watch it again, watch a second time, watch a third time, and just take in all the details, because I guarantee with each viewing you're gonna find something different that you didn't catch before, something neat that's like, it's like that little thing, I missed that. It's like, oh, look at how the expression changes and everything. It's amazing. Amazing job. So cheers, guys. I'll catch you all later. Have fun. Bye.